So, the title of our explainer today is The Rejected Stone. And, that title points to something we're going to explore. A feeling that, let's be honest, we've all felt and we all try to avoid. That painful, sharp sting of rejection.
I mean, think about it for a second. Have you ever felt left out, overlooked, just completely forgotten? You know that feeling, right? That quiet sting when you get passed over for a job, or the ache of a phone call that never gets returned. It's this super universal but also deeply personal pain that I think every single one of us has felt at some point.
If you look it up in the dictionary, the definition is, well, it's pretty clinical, right? To refuse to hear, receive, or accept. Sounds so straightforward, almost sterile, when you just read it on a page.
Yeah, but the dictionary, it just fails to say the most important part, doesn't it? It fails to say that it stings. I mean, that definition totally misses the emotional reality of it all. It doesn't tell you how it actually feels, that it leaves a mark, and sometimes, man, it can take over the whole show and start shaping how you see yourself and the entire world around you.
And you know what? This feeling, it's not some new modern problem. Not at all. The pain of being cast aside is, well, it's an ancient wound. It's a timeless pain you can find woven into some of the oldest stories humanity has ever told. Okay, let's take Sarah from the book of Genesis, for example. For years and years, she felt this profound rejection, but not from another person, from her own body. She was unable to have the child she wanted more than anything. Or how about Joseph? I mean, wow, talk about betrayal. His rejection was just next level. He was thrown into a well and left for dead by the very people who were supposed to have his back, the ones who should have protected him, his own brothers. And then there's Naomi. Her story is just heartbreaking. She lost her husband and both of her sons. She felt so completely rejected by her circumstances, just crushed by life, that she actually told people to call her Mara, which literally means bitter. She was convinced that even God himself had turned against her. So it really seems like no one is immune to this, right? Not even the most important people in history. And that brings us to the ultimate example of rejection, one that, believe it or not, offers a totally new way to look at this whole thing. There is this ancient verse that completely flips the script on rejection. It says, "The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone." Now, the cornerstone, that's the most important stone in the whole building. So what this is saying is that the very thing that gets discarded, the thing everyone thinks is worthless, can actually turn out to be the most crucial piece of the entire structure. In this verse, it's almost always applied to one person, Jesus. Think about it. He came to Earth, lived this incredibly humble life, and yet he was rejected. Like, profoundly rejected. And not just by his enemies. He was rejected by his own people. And then, in his darkest hour, even by his closest friends. But here's the thing. The story doesn't stop there. And this is the crucial point. All of that suffering, that ultimate act of rejection, it wasn't just some tragic accident. No, it had a purpose. A really profound, world-changing purpose. Just look at this contrast. On the one hand, think about the words we use for Jesus: Savior, Healer, Redeemer. I mean, these are powerful, victorious words, right? But on the other hand, look at what he actually went through to get there. The path was paved with being mocked, humiliated, and, you guessed it, totally rejected. So what was the purpose of all that suffering? Well, first, his rejection was our protection. The core idea here is that he basically stood in our place. He took the hit. He absorbed the full weights of the ultimate spiritual rejection, a total separation from God, so that we would never have to experience it. It's like a shield against the deepest, most profound isolation you can possibly imagine. Okay, second, his rejection was our provision. So his suffering wasn't just playing defense. It was an act that actually bought something for us. It was the price paid to give us access to things we could never get on our own. Things like a deep, real sense of freedom, a peace that doesn't care about your circumstances, and a joy that has nothing to do with whether the world accepts you or not. And that brings us to the final point, the big one. His rejection was our acceptance. This is the great reversal, the amazing twist at the very heart of the story. By being cast out, he literally opened up a path for us to be brought in, to be welcomed. It's that simple and that profound. Because he was rejected, we can be fully and completely accepted. Okay, So what does all this mean? I mean, what does this ancient story, this whole theological idea, actually mean for you and for me, today, right now, when we face our own moments of being rejected?
This right here, this is the key takeaway for all of us. The whole idea is that he took on the label rejected so that we would never have to. It's something he endured so that it never has to become our identity. So what does that mean? It means that when we feel that sting of being overlooked or left out, we can absolutely acknowledge the pain. It's real, but we don't have to let it define us. The feeling is temporary, but that label rejected doesn't have to be our identity.
And, you know, as we get closer to the Easter season, this becomes a really powerful thing to think about. It's sort of an invitation to get personal with this idea, to ask yourself, how has his rejection actually protected me? Where has this great exchange shown up in my own life? What have I been shielded from or rescued from?
I want to leave you with this final verse. And what's incredible is that it was written hundreds of years before Jesus was even born. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. It's a heavy, somber reminder of just how deep the pain we've been talking about really was. But it's also a reminder of the incredible purpose that was hidden inside of it, the power to turn the world's greatest rejection into our greatest acceptance.